Today I'm speaking with Tanya Kabuya. I am so excited for this conversation. A lot of us entrepreneurs want to make money without working all of our lives, right? That's usually why someone starts their own business. They're tired of their 9 to 5, they feel trapped. So they really want to start doing what they love doing. And one way to do that is through courses. And it's a very scary thing to think about. It's just one of those things where you don't know if people are going to buy it. You're worried. It's just a lot of mindset things. So I'm very excited to be talking to Tanya today all about her background and how you can have a successful course. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amy, for having me. I'm so excited to speak to you about this particular topic because I love it so much. I love talking about course creations and making money with your knowledge.
Absolutely. So you're located in Johannesburg, and tell us about your business and how you really got started doing your own thing.
That's a great question. Well, like many people, I was in corporate, tired, burned out, exhausted from working a lot. Didn't have time for my son. I am a single mom, and I was constantly traveling, barely having time for him, trying to make a living, but still feeling awful. I had mommy's guilt. I felt guilty for working a lot, and I felt guilty for not spending enough time with him. And I wanted balance, which wasn't exactly what I was getting. So I wanted out. And I wanted to find a way to get out and still make an income and still, of course, provide. It ended up happening. I first went into freelancing, started freelancing as a funnel builder, course designer, anything really, copywriter, because I had a background in marketing. Mm-hmm. And one day, because at the time I would white label courses, one day a client from Canada told me, like, Tanya, this is great. You actually do such a great job, but have you considered actually selling your courses under your name? And I was like, no, man, who would buy these courses? I mean, these courses from an African girl. Come on, like, and he was like, but everybody that is buying your white label courses and selling it and making a ton of money, in fact, himself included, is making a ton of money. Isn't it my knowledge anyway? And that was my light bulb moment where I was like, oh my gosh, this man is actually right. I'm actually the expert that I don't think that I am. And I could actually be making the same amount of money that these people were making, like 5 figures, 6 figures, some of today 7 figures. And instead of making $500 was white labeling it, I could be making a lot more. And that's how actually my journey started into course creation.
Interesting. I think it's a big mindset block for a lot of people, realizing that they are the expert that they're helping, right? So you're helping experts, but you're the expert that they come to. And so you describe you're selling it under white label. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. What initially is that?
Well, white label is basically a type of course creation where you create a course and then you license it, kind of like private labeling, where you license now the course to other people to use it and slap their name on it as their own, and you can't claim it. So basically, that is white labeling.
Okay. So you're creating the course, licensing it out, and they're making the profit.
Exactly. But I think for me, what was the reason why I was doing it was because I had that mindset issue. I'm a girl with a lisp, and I'm a girl who actually stutters. So I speak slowly so that I don't trip on my words. So I felt like I hated public speaking. Even growing up as a kid, I hated public speaking. And even in class, I would sit at the back of the class so that the teachers would not have to pick me to answer questions because I was really embarrassed with how I spoke. So I had my own limiting beliefs as to what I could do as an individual. So white labeling for me was like, oh yeah, I can make $500 versus sell it to 10 people or 100 people or 50 people and still make a ton of money. That's how I felt, because I felt like I couldn't be anything more than that. So was it unfulfilling? No. Could you make money with it? Yes, but it wasn't my dream to stick to white labeling, but it was my limiting belief that wanted me to stick there.
Okay, very interesting. So when we're starting our business, a lot of us, at least for me, a course was not the first thing that came to my mind. It sounded scary. It sounded like a lot of work. And I was like, honestly, who would buy this? But now that I'm farther along in my business, it makes total sense. I have a podcast launch course, or start a podcast course. And so it's everything you need to know to start a podcast. And I'm like, why did I not do this sooner? It's helped so many people. And so when in business would you recommend starting a course, or when should someone know that, hey, it's actually time for me to start my course?
That is a very interesting question. Hey? Is there a perfect time? I wouldn't say there is. You could start your course as the first step in your business or later on in your business. At the end of the day, we are already the experts that we are meant to be. You are already 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of the next person. I think often the misconception is that you ought to know everything about your subject so that you can teach it. When I started creating courses, I didn't know everything. I think even now I'm a lot further along than I was when I first started, even white labeling for other people. So do you need to know everything? No, you are already the expert. So if you feel that you have enough knowledge that you can impart on other people, then of course you should consider creating a course. Even if you feel like a long course is daunting, a mini course, that could be your first step.
Yeah. I remember when I was first promoting my course, it was in this podcasting Facebook group, and I made a post. It was like, start your podcast for, I don't remember how much money I said, but it was like a low amount of money. And in the comments, it was just like 15 men roasting me, saying stuff like, my podcast was free to start, or I was free starting my podcast. And I was like, okay, rude, but that's not the point. Like, you're not the person I'm aiming to help, right? And so do you have experience and success in marketing a course to the right people?
That's a great question. This is something I actually cover a lot in my coaching program on the Course Creation Accelerator. And what I often tell people is that you don't have to speak to everybody. In every market, there's only 3% ready to buy from you. So if we had to put it into perspective, if there's 100 people in a room, there's 3 people that immediately right there need what you have to offer. And then you have another 17, which will be a total of 20 that are almost there, that have been looking at solutions and might consider what you are offering as long as you position it right. Mm-hmm. So do you have to speak to everybody? No. You need to be aware that in every market, there will be people that only want the free stuff, right? That is normal. At this point, we accept it, that there are people that only want the free stuff. And then there are the people that are still trying to make an informed decision about whether they should consider doing something like what you're selling. And then you have that 20% that are more or less ready to invest with you. So marketing is mostly about positioning. It's about selling is an act of service. I think a lot of times that fear, when you're already operating from a place of fear when it comes to selling, even proposing your product is a problem. You feel like, oh my gosh, yes, you can. If you want to buy. If you don't want to buy, that's okay too, because you are operating from a place of fear. Like you don't even believe that people are supposed to pay you for what you are doing. So the one thing you first have to do is get over that fear that, should I even be doing this? Yes, you should. Yes, you are the expert. Yes, you have a product is done amazing and that people need to know about and need to use. The minute you start making that shift in your mind, then selling is no longer a problem. Rejection is okay because you're like, okay, not everybody is going to be for me. So it's okay for me to repel the wrong type of customers.
Absolutely. You can't help everyone. You don't want to help everyone, first of all, because if you're helping everyone, there's no way to niche down. And niching down is really important in business. And it's one of those very scary things to do, where if you are helping women with businesses, okay, that is huge. That's a huge audience. But if you're helping female professional personal trainers, okay, that's a much more narrow audience. But it's still a big audience of people who need your services. And so really just thinking like that and being able to figure out who do you want to help, who should you help, and who can you help. I think those are like big questions all of us have to ask ourselves in business, especially before starting a course.
True. Absolutely. Those are very important questions. Those are actually where you need to start. You need to understand who you are speaking to, who's for you, and if there's a demand for what you are going to offer. Because if you don't understand that, well, you will not be able to sell what you need to sell.
Absolutely. Do you want to start growing your business rapidly in a really fun way? Do you want to increase your visibility and profits? I have just the thing for you. My course, Great Guesting, How to Grow Your Business Through Being a Podcast Guest, is now available, and it's guaranteed to get you on podcasts. Do you want to connect with more clients, share your story, make stronger connections, and grow your audience? But do you find that you're second guessing yourself, are indecisive on a topic because you're into so many things, and thinking, is this even possible? You'll love this step-by-step guide on how to be a podcast guest. We go over 6 lessons that are knowing your story, narrowing down the topic, finding podcasts to be on, setting up your audio, preparing to record, and of course, marketing, because that's what I'm all about. Being a guest can be fun, but if you don't have a plan to go with it, you're really just spending the hour talking. You're not moving your business forward, and that's exactly what this course is designed to teach you. You can find this course on my website at Espresso Podcast Production, and I guarantee you that you will be a guest on podcasts in no time. Yeah, so I know you help people create their courses, and so what are some of the first steps to take when deciding to develop a course?
Now, actually, what I teach is not what everybody teaches. I always say the first step is actually go inward. Go inward and think about your own journey. Think about where you've been, what you've learned. What are you passionate about? What could you speak about right now in the next 10 minutes? If I asked you like, oh my gosh, a speaker has dropped out of my event, could you speak about something? And you'll be like, oh my gosh, yes, I can. And I'll be speaking about this without anybody actually cueing you. I mean, if today I had to speak about podcasting, for example, and I asked you, Ailey, could you speak about podcasting? I know you're gonna totally geek out on that. Well, those are those things that you geek out on. That's actually a trigger. Okay, if I'm geeking out on this, then I'm passionate about it and I love it. And that means that you actually try and learn about the subject every day and all the time because you love it so much. So the minute you have that, that's your trigger. Once you understand your journey, your transformation journey, where you've been, that's your trigger. So you first go inward and figure out what you want. Then we go into looking at your ideal customer avatar. Who are the people you're going to speak to? Just like you mentioned earlier, it shouldn't be too broad. Is it, let's say, women in their 30s that are trying to leave the corporate world and want to start, let's say, coaching businesses? That's a little bit narrow. Okay, they want to become life coaches because A, B, C, D. Now you have niched down. So you know your passion, for example, is to teach business. to female, to women that are looking to start coaching businesses. And now you have that ICA. Now you're going to go out there and find where they are, where they hang out, and you want to start polling them. You want to start figuring out what are the issues that they are dealing with when they're trying to start their businesses. What are the issues they dealt with and they wish they had the information? Is that information that you can provide? So you want to research and poll your ideal customer avatar so you know if the product that you are going to offer is what they need, and also to get the actual words that they use when they are looking for solutions, because then you're going to have your sales copy already done for you, because you're going to be using those same words that they have been using when you were polling them.
Definitely. When I was first creating the copy for my course, one of the things that I did was go into podcasting Facebook groups and just scroll and scroll and scroll and see what people's real pain points are. Like, what were they asking? What were they complaining about? And I literally copied and pasted all of them into a Word document. And from there, wrote my copy, because like you're saying, you need to use the words that they're using, because it feels like you're speaking directly to them rather than just selling them, right?
Yeah.
I think I know what they need, but I actually have to know what they need to make those sales.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's exactly that. There's no rocket science there.
Right. It's very straightforward, but it's also like you need to actually care too. That sounds dumb, but
Yes.
you actually need to care to create a course.
Absolutely true. This is why I actually even changed my application process with my coaching program, where I now have to interview participants to know if you actually care about the subject, or is it just a way for you to make a quick buck? Because if it is a way to make a quick buck, it's not on brand for me to help you do that, because I want to genuinely help people that want to make a difference and want to make an impact. Because the course creation industry is it's growing, and it's going to grow even further. And obviously, we are going to attract a whole number of people. And I don't want to participate in things that will actually end up damaging the industry further. So you need to care. Definitely care about your subject, care about what you're going to teach. And don't just create a course because you feel it's a quick buck, because it's also a lot of hard work. I mean, you would know that. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna sit down and just talk to my camera. No, it's actually a lot of work. It takes a lot of time and passion and tears as well to put a course together.
Absolutely. So there's this whole mindset shift when you start deciding to sell a course, right? For me, and I know a lot of other people, we start by taking on one-on-one clients. And it sounds like you did the same with your white labeling. And so
yes,
we take on one-on-one clients, helping them directly. And it's pretty fulfilling, like seeing their results in front of your eyes, because at least for me, I work with clients on contracts. And so over those 6 months, I see the change. But then you realize there's a cap in your income, because you can only take on so many one-on-one clients. And if you genuinely care and want to help people, courses would be the next step, because then you could help so many more people. So what is the mindset shift that you experienced when you stopped taking or lessened your one-on-one clients and went more heavy into courses?
The mindset shift. What mindset shift did I need to do? I mean, I think for me, it started with understanding first that, and like overcoming my money blocks first. That was the first mindset shift that I needed to do, like understanding that it's all right to want to leverage my time, and that it's all right to want to leverage my knowledge and work less. Because I think a lot of us, when we grow up in the societies that we're growing up in, we are taught hard work. You need to work hard so you can make money. And it's indoctrinated in us that sometimes the thought of working less and making money, it makes you feel like you are a fraud. You're not supposed to be doing that. You are supposed to put in the time and make the money. Don't try to cheat because that's cheating. So first of all, you need to overcome those money blocks. That it's okay for you to leverage your time and knowledge to make money, and money is your friend. Money is not the enemy, and passive income is all right. I think first overcome the money block, then work on what you want for you. Forget about society, forget about what society is dictating for you. Acknowledge what you want and how you want to serve you. This is the most important thing. I think when you start thinking less about what society will say and how you will be judged, I think you become free. You become free and you allow yourself to make the necessary decisions that make you happy. And at the end of the day, that's what's important. So money blocks and then doing the inner work to get over what society is dictating is actually what I had to do in order for me to step into that direction.
Yeah, and that's powerful when you have that freedom. That's power right there, power over your own life. So
Exactly.
one thing that you talked about is being okay making that passive income. And I think for a lot of people, there's this whole mindset block of, okay, like, do I charge every single person $600 for my course? Or do I charge every single person $100 because I already created it and like I already put it out there, like it's there already? Pricing your course is something like a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many thoughts that we have around it, or at least I
Mm-hmm.
did. So do you have any advice on pricing your course and like sticking to that price?
All right. Pricing your course. This is a very popular question that I get all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I always say go with value, not the time. We are stopping with selling time. Yeah. So we are already getting over this money block that I need to put in more time to make more money. Now, what is the value that you are bringing to the person? What is the transformation for the person that is going to take your course? Let's say, for example, I have one particular program that I have. It's called Easy Sales Blueprint. This is for somebody that is just getting into business, or a coach or consultant that is struggling to make sales. They can't close their calls, their sales calls. They can't do anything. They can't generate enough leads. And now this program takes you from not being able to generate leads to generating leads, booking prospects into your calendar, and actually closing 30 to 50% of your sales. Now, let's say that program, hypothetically, actually that program is $1,000. And if you had 50 calls for that month once we start working with you, and you closed 50%, and maybe your services are $1,000 each, you probably have made $25,000 now if let's say you had 50 calls. So isn't $1,000 worth the 25,000 that you would make? The value, what is the value that you are bringing to the person? That's how you have to shift your mind. Like, what am I doing? If I am teaching somebody how to maintain a loving relationship, why is it costing them to not be in a relationship or to have continuous relationships that do not work? So you need to think about the value that you're bringing to the person. Now, what is that worth for the person? Once you have that and you understand that in your mind, pricing is no longer an issue because you understand that to that person, it is worth a lot more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because just like you said, what is it costing this person not to know? And then for yourself, thinking about the years and years of experience that you had to do and all the education, courses, time, money, all of that you had to put in. Like, what is that all worth? Because people don't know the whole background. They just know what result they want and they'll buy on the result, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You just put the nail on the coffin there.
So I know a lot of people are going to be thinking, yeah, I have ideas for courses, but should I actually go for it? Like, is this even a good idea? Will people buy this? Can you talk about like maybe like those more niche courses and how people will be interested? You just have to reach them.
Well, when it comes to course creation, you first want to know if there's demand. A lot of times, courses that don't sell, when like I get contacted, like my course is not selling, when you look at the entire thing, it will be, is there demand for this? Are they targeting the right people for this particular course? Because I would look at the course and I'm like, this is amazing, but you are targeting the wrong person. You should be targeting such and such a person. So, first of all, the people that you want to sell to, where can you find them? Is it hard or easy to find them? If there is a cluster of them online, which is aka your Facebook, LinkedIn groups, you can you look for them on Instagram, you have an hashtag and you find there's a lot of them posting. That means they should be an existence of people interested in that particular subject. You go on Udemy, you go on Skillshare, and you find such courses. That means there is a demand. Then you can start thinking, or you go on YouTube. One of the best ways as well to find out about demand for a course that you want to create. Get on YouTube, type what your people would type, and see the videos that come up. How many views do they have? So that will give you an indication of the interest of people in what you have to offer. Then you can start looking at, you can go through the steps now of looking on how to create, how to market, and how to sell. But usually it just starts with research. Once you have gotten that nailed down, it's like full sail ahead, nothing else to do.
Yeah, the research is so important. And so one of the last questions I have for you is thinking about someone who's in corporate, they're in a 9 to 5, and they want to sell a course about maybe what they do for work or maybe something for fun. Do you see courses as like a valuable side hustle?
Definitely. Definitely do it. You will not regret it. It is a viable side hustle that you can eventually scale into maybe a full-time business. I mean, look at Amy Porterfield. She was in corporate. There's a number of people that are course creators today that come from corporate.
Mm-hmm.
And especially corporate skills, they are the most transferable skills, especially for entrepreneurs. Let's say you are in HR. I mean, do you know how many solopreneurs that are looking to now hire don't know where to start? How do I start hiring? How do I interview? What do I do? How do I onboard employees? Those questions, people have them. And let's say you have worked in human resource for 15, 20 years. I mean, you have the knowledge, you have the gold just right there in your brain sitting to be mined.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like such an amazing way to think about it. Thinking you don't need to learn a whole new skill to sell a course. Like, think about what you know, think about, like you said, what lights you up, and then just go for it. It's one of those things that we can put on the back burner a lot because the uncertainty of, will it work? Will it not work? What am I even doing? But like you're saying, you have the experience. And if you work like someone like Tanya, like, she is going to get you to where you need to be with that accountability, correct?
Yes, that's it. I'm going to get you there with the accountability because a lot of times I think that's why people never actually, and they'll start creating their courses, but will never actually launch it because they are not accountable to anybody else.
Exactly. Because it doesn't hurt you not to do it, but it really does, right? In your mind, it's like, no one knows I was even creating a course. I don't need to do it. But for yourself and for your income, like it is
Mm,
worth it.
it is so worth it. So worth it.
Yeah. So is there anything else that we want to talk about today that maybe I didn't bring up already, or anything you want to expand on?
I think we've covered the basics. We've definitely covered the basics on course creation. And I believe that anybody listening to this today will actually go out there and start creating the course and actually just map out the course right now. That's what I'm going to ask them, like map out your course, like write down 5 ideas that you have right now that you're thinking about, and then start doing the research. That's what you need to do today.
Absolutely. So how can people find you and how can people work with you?
Well, you will find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Tanya Kabuya. If you just search Tanya Kabuya, you'll find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I also have a Facebook community, which is the online business entrepreneurs and course creators. And I'm very active on there. So you can come in, join us and hang out. And we can have a discussion there.
Awesome. And so when someone wants to work with you because they need that accountability, do they reach out to you or do you have information on your social media about services that you provide?
Well, if you want to work with me, get on my Instagram, Tanya Kabuya. Get on my link tree. You'll find a roadmap to 10K strategy call link. Book a meeting there, and then we'll have an obligation free and free call where we can see how we can help you.
Awesome. I'll put all of those in the show notes. And I love ending every single episode with the guest, you giving 3 actionable tips for the listener to start doing in their life today.
All right. Now, I think I would give 1. Write down 5 ideas that light you up and go into the research. The other thing I want you to do is to get out of your own way. Get out of your own way, because a lot of times the reason you don't go after what you want to do is because you are scared. And because you are scared, you are stopping yourself from achieving those dreams. So get out of your own way and be bold, be courageous to be different. Don't be that lily like in the world trying to be like everybody else. It's okay. Actually, right now in the online space, being different is key. So give yourself permission to be different and to step out into your power.
I absolutely love those. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
My pleasure. I absolutely enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to the Employee to Boss podcast. If you made it to the end of this episode, I hope that you implement the actionable steps from this week's experts so you can get started with your business today. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the Employee to Boss podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps more than you could ever imagine. Remember, a little progress each day leads to big results. We come out with a new episode every Tuesday. To access our show notes, transcripts, and courses, please check out espressopodcastproduction.com.